Okay. So our next speaker is an associate professor in product design, actually originally from Pune, India, seventh largest city in India. And this story is a little bit about when first came to the United States. Now, if I were to ask you all, what is America's greatest invention for the world in terms of retail? Wow. I can get more responses than yo-yo. There's other. That's correct, no one. The yard sale. So, without further ado, please, a big round of applause for our next speaker and hearing a little bit about the first ever yard sale that he was ever at. Teja Darpuli, please, a big round of applause.
When I first moved to the United States, I came across two very interesting product and retail ecosystems. The first ecosystem was a shopping mall, a site that focuses on the first cycle of a product, where every experience is intensely curated, and malls are a place that reflect hyperconsumption and conspicuous waste. In contrast, a friend of mine took me to a garage sale. Coming from India, I had never experienced garage sales before. So for me, yard sales were a window into American culture. And I instantly fell in love with this alternative product and retail ecosystem. What I loved about these garage sales was the social atmosphere. The experience is unstructured, the environment is almost imperfect, and even if there is disorder, you expect fun and surprise every time you go to a yard sale. I loved the process of going through stuff at a yard sale, trying to look for something that I wasn't even looking for. So then I got obsessed with it and started studying yard sales and what objects mean to people and how objects shape our social relationships. There are two ways you can look at garage sales. One way to look at garage sales is it is a site for planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is the practice of deliberately shortening a life of a product so that we can stimulate sales. When older products die, they get replaced with newer products. Now, products become obsolete for various different reasons. One of the most obvious reasons of obsolescence is quality. Every product over time has some wear and tear. As it gets wear and tear, we replace it with a newer object. The second type of obsolescence is the technological obsolescence. This is where the technology in a product starts becoming obsolete. It becomes very hard for us to use that particular product, and we replace it with a better product. This is a Walkman I bought in 2005 from a yard sale at $5. The interesting story is it was $5 and I still wanted to check whether it works or not. So I asked this seller, can I please have a cassette to test it? And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any cassettes. So it's interesting, I still took his word and bought it, trusting him on that, and ended up having a long conversation with him about cassette players, vinyl records, boom boxes, and what it was to own these kind of products back in the 70s and 80s. The third type of obsolescence is the psychological obsolescence. This is the most dangerous type of obsolescence where fully functional objects are thrown away for newer and more fashionable objects. For example, our clothes. Clothes are perfectly in good condition and we throw them away for newer and fashionable clothes. Body styles of cars are changed every single year to give consumers a look for newness, freshness, and to show that we are making progress. But there is an alternative way of looking at yard sales too. You can look at yard sales and think of them as unplanned durability. Think about it. The objects that end up in yard sales are not supposed to end up in yard sale, but have certain kind of properties that make them fit for a yard sale. Now, there could be many reasons why this happens. For example, the owner really has an attachment to the product and doesn't want to let go, and it ends up in a yard sale a few years later. It could be made up of beautiful materials that age really gracefully with time. It could be an object that could get high resale value, or it could just be your city's waste management system that decides what goes into a landfill and what ends up in a yard sale. So yard sales are a very, very unique site for unplanned durability. If you notice, the products in a yard sale are not designed for second life. The durability is not by design, it's by accident. But just imagine, what if it was by design? What if we could study objects like these and what properties they have, and then deliberately start designing durable products for their second and third life? Just like human beings, objects also have biographies. And these biographies are socially constructed when we exchange objects or when we interact with these interesting objects. When you buy something at a yard sale, you're essentially participating in extending the biography of that particular object. Every object in a yard sale has a story to tell. You see those sneakers up top? These sneakers belong to a sneaker enthusiast who was forced to sell all her sneakers to pay for her cancer treatment. 2.5 years later, when she recovered from cancer, she found these Air Force One banned sneakers for $10. These are so rare, they can go up to $2,500. You see the vintage video games? A man accidentally bought Nintendo's vintage video games for $2, and he later realized that the value of that was $7,500. The current price of vintage Nintendo video games are up to $40,000. Just the box that this game comes in is known to go up to $10,000. Just the box. So what do we learn from it? Values of products change over time and space, and particularly when the object changes from its first life cycle and goes into its second life cycle. A product might lose its financial value or its utilitarian value, but it might gain some emotional or symbolic value. I have seen people, and I have myself, bought non-functional objects at a yard sale that either have a social value, a symbolic value, or just a nostalgic value. So what can we learn from yard sales, and why do I go to these yard sales? Yard sales, to me, are a site for unplanned durability. We must learn from the objects at these yard sales and then start deliberately designing objects that are durable, that go into the second and third life of a product. Secondly, yard sales are a place to capture the changing meanings that people associated with objects. It's also a place to check how value of an object changes over time and space. And lastly, yard sales are an alternative ecosystem that promote the principles of reuse and sustainable design. Thank you.
Very good. That's great.